Good evening, everybody, and welcome to racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I'm John Rallis, alongside the Hall of Famer Randy Waples. And Randy, it's good to be back. The last time that we worked together, unfortunately, Mother Nature had other plans. The card got cut short. I mean, pretty brutal weather conditions and racing conditions, so it was the right decision. But we had a 12-pack last time out, and we're hoping to make amends with another quality 12-pack this evening.
It's always fun to work with you. You always come up with some really, really neat kind of plays. Whatever he has to say out there, take another look at it, because he can come up with some pretty neat little angles. So it's always nice to have you back in here. And yeah, first time that, about 4 weeks ago, we worked together and only got half the card. So hopefully everything goes smooth tonight. We can get the whole card in, but it's great back to see you. You've been so busy.
Yeah, a little bit busy. Luckily, no traveling for me as of late, though. Just mostly, my duties and responsibilities at Trot. But it felt rushed last time, though, when we worked together, right? Because it was they were trying to speed up the card a little bit.
Seemed like it.
Just felt rushed. There was a lot we wanted to say. We were so excited about the card, and unfortunately, we couldn't see it through. I know one of the finals for the New Holland series wasn't able to go. I think it was the pacing side, so that had to be postponed. But we've got another great 12-pack here with some finals as well to preview, Randy. But I heard that you and Chad were speaking about looking forward to the proofs this time of year for the qualifiers and stuff, right? And I'm the same way. You see the Mohawk qualifiers coming on. You see Meadowlands. You saw some stars qualify yesterday at Mohawk and some stars qualify this morning at Meadowlands. And 5 weeks away, we're in store for the North America Cup, I believe. So 5 or 6 weeks away. So
yeah, and today there you had there was a big gun down at the Meadowlands, Twin V Joe Fresh, right? And we've had some great ones up here too. But to the same effect, we haven't really got to the very, very deep part of it. Like, we haven't seen Nijinsky and some of these other ones that are coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I seen him train at out at Classy Lane maybe about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I swear to God, John, the horse looks like he's even better this year than he was last year.
I heard you talking with Chad the other night. He's talking about how he looks like he's floating out there.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying?
Well, he always had when he brings his legs up, like even last year as a 3-year-old, it always seemed to me like he had he'd spend a lot of time up there before he'd bring them back down again. I watched him train the other day, and he literally looks like he's floating.
Wow.
Like he keeps all of them up so high for so long, it literally looks like he's floating down the track. Then they come down, and then they're back up here again. Like, it's just really looks amazing out there. I pulled up alongside of Tony Beaton, and I said, is that who I think it is? And he was in the race bike, and he said, yeah, it is. And I said, you must be really, really happy with him, because, I mean, the horse looks amazing. I said, you must be really, really happy with him. And the look on Tony Beaton's face, I mean, it was just like you were talking about his kid, that just got honor student or something. You know what I mean? Like, he's so pumped to race this horse, and he looks amazing.
And, it's exciting to have some of these 3-year-olds come back as 4-year-olds, right? I mean, we see Captain Albano, who's going to get set to qualify soon. Nijinsky, who I don't know when he's going to be getting set to qualify.
Got to be soon.
I mean, we add them to the aged pacing division. I know Buckabit Hanover, he was the one to beat all season. I believe Andrew Harris told me that he'll be qualifying next week at the Meadowlands. So you add these 3 turning 4-year-olds into the mix, and this is a really, really nice group. Mirage Hanover, who qualified today. Unfortunately, I believe he had an AFib. He pulled up during his qualifier. So hopefully he can come back in a couple weeks and put forth an effort there in the morning. But we've got a really nice division, not only in the age pacing division, but just about so many divisions. We saw Chantilly yesterday. Mickey and Minnie, though, this morning qualified. I think those two, we're gonna have some fun watching those two go toe-to-toe, the Breeders' Crown winner, and she was so awesome at 2 last year, Andy, just taking so much air, traveling around and getting the best of them. But again,
did they ever face each other?
They haven't.
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking forward to, right? That's the showdown that I really want to see. Mickey and Minnie and Chantilly. I know in the U.S. I kept telling people there's a filly in Canada. I'm telling you, just has so she's got big gears, and again, there's a reason why George Millar thought highly enough to stake her to the North America Cup. But I think those two, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those two go at it when they do meet up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're off to a really, really big year this year. And, I mean, another one, too, like last night, you had to have seen Paquette race.
Yeah. It was.
I mean, you tell me that's not a 4-year-old that cannot move right into the open ranks.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe
me too. That is a really, really top
Gave me a bit
individual.
of a scare yesterday,
Me
right?
too.
It looked like Doug was going to kind of open up, but the talent and the speed prevailed for Paquette, and went a really quick mark. I believe maybe the fastest trotting mile in Canada yesterday.
Yeah,
so
52 and change.
Really, really good effort.
But that's one of the things that I've always liked. Like you kind of brought that up, that I've always enjoyed about Dougie's driving is that he comes up with these little genius sort of moves. Like, he never should have been able to even remotely beat or even have Paquette even close to being beat, but he just about did. And that, again, to me, that's McNair. He can make things happen out there, you know. Love watching his style.
Yeah, but absolutely right. And Paquette, really, really good effort. And I'm excited, like you, to see how he's going to progress going forward this season. But we've got to focus on tonight. We've talked about some stars beforehand. We're going to look at some stars this evening, though, Randy. And we've, just like last time we worked together, we've got some finals here to look forward to with the Ontario Sire Spring Series. I believe there's 4 finals this evening. We're going to start off in race number 2 with the 3-year-old Colt Pacers. And we're scratched down now to a field of 4, but it's a couple horses that have really stepped up here and raced pretty well in that division, Randy.
They have. I'm going to stay with the 2 horse in here, Aiago. Yeah. He's the one that I'm kind of focusing on in this one. I really like the way that they progressed with him.
And then we've got next race. We've also got the 3-year-old, the 3-year-old filly trotters there. And as we can see on screen here, Deborah looking for another victory here. And you know, she's got a post advantage. She looks so handy, and I'm excited to see what kind of effort she can put forth tonight again.
We could be looking at a top 3-year-old OSS filly here, my friend.
And we've also got another division in race number 6, and that's the 3-year-old Colt Trotters. And this is a really interesting race. I think the theme with some of these divisions, though, Randy, or some of these finals, I should say, is some top contenders drew poorly, right? You see Flanagan Sunshine, a really good effort last time out. Don't love the rail for this guy, though, and you could see that in some of those other divisions. Roxy Hart drawing the 10-hole after she's won back-to-back races. And we've got one more division, I believe, as well with the 3-year-old Pacing Fillies. But as we can see on screen there, Randy, we've got a leg of the graduate here. The Pacers didn't go last time out. This is going to be leg number 2, but the return of Fun Time Bayama, and really interested to see what kind of effort he's going to put forth tonight. I'm not really sure what to expect from him, having not raced for almost a year.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's the whole thing. We know that he's capable of doing some pretty awesome things out there, and we know that he's had a long time away from the races. Part of that being injury related. But from my understanding, they have him tuned up and ready to go. And, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to see the progression as of, in a physical way. Did he get bigger? Did he get stronger with all that time off? I still say that we could be in for a real nice ride with the Fun Time Bayama horse.
And James obviously going to Fun Time over Marigo Magic, who's been really, really sharp here racing and stepping up in class and getting it done. And of course, we kind of mentioned about it before. We've got the 3-year-old Pacing Fillies. We're going to see if Courtois Dulac can get the best of Whiskey Blue Chip, who's going to look for a sweep tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Coeur Dulac is racing really, really well. But, you know, the Bill McClure filly, I mean, he could be looking at a sweep of both stakes tonight. He could get there with Deborah. He could get there with Whiskey Blue Chip.
Yeah, and another tough draw, as I mentioned, right? A lot of these top contenders having tough draws to work with. And Whiskey Blue Chip, she's got post 9. But, Randy, there's some speed to her inside, so I'm really interested to see how this race shapes out tonight.
I agree with you, you know, but she does have good speed. She's got a driver that can generate huge speed in Mario B. But what kind of gets me though, John, is that they got to come up with more game because they're not even in her wheelhouse right now.
It looks like, you know, Mario's had to motivate her a little bit at the top of the lane, and once she gets into gear, she's been too tough. They really just can't give her any real scare though so far.
No, and you know, sometimes when you get doing that, when you get into a series like this and you start to get confidence, you know, your confidence swells, much like what we're seeing with Phoenix on the trotting side. I think he's in Monday, right? Much what we're seeing with him. He goes into that pop-up series. He raced good the first time, but, you know, now, by the time after a couple of weeks of beating up on these horses, he's like King Kong.
Yeah, he's the one to beat, like McAllen and that other pop-up series. He was the one to beat. But like you said with Phoenix, not the strongest effort in that first leg, and he bounced back in leg number 2. And
he just keeps getting better.
He's just too much class for that field, I would say. Yeah, just like McAllen in the end. But we'll look forward to that on Monday night. But we're going to kick things off here talking about our 12-pack, and we're going to start off with race number 1 here this evening. And Randy, we've got one horse that appears to maybe be a standout here in this field, but we're going to see what kind of effort he can put forth, and he is likely going to go off as the race favorite. And that's the 6-horse No Control. Second time Lasix, an angle you love. Is this the direction that you're going here tonight?
Yeah, definitely going to go that route. You know, he is going to give up a little bit of time. April 12th was his last race, you know, but I like the way that Jody did it. That was first start Lasix. I like it when a horse is not overdone when they first get on the Lasix program, you know, because they never really seem to get that stigma out that this fluid can head into their lungs and scare them, and you know all that goes with it. So if you just race them a little bit like Jody's doing here on the end of it, you can still win the race. Nobody can say that you can't win, but you're giving him a better chance to get used to this medication. So now he's missed a little bit of time, but now comes back. Second start Lasix, that's my angle. Middle of the gate, gets the 6 hole. The driver that knows knows him, plummets down to non-winners of 15,000. It's just like one bell ringing after another, John.
Yeah, it really should be all systems go tonight, I would assume, right? Good draw, like you said, second time Lasix. And this is a group more to his liking. That was a really nice group that he was taking on, and he belongs in that group. You could argue that he is the class of the field, the group that he took on last time out, but he probably just needed another effort to kind of get himself tight, his feet under him. And with a great draw here this evening, he should be the one to get it done tonight.
Who are you putting in for second? Because I seen in the morning line there. I myself, I look at Nazaire as being the horse to beat, but I see that, you know, Highland Beach Lover, a lot of people have him up. I know he's racing good. I'm using him too. Just don't look at him as the horse to beat. I think Nazaire is good right now.
Really, really sharp. And this is a horse who just keeps kind of climbing up the class ladder, right? They exited out of those claiming handicaps, and now they're testing deeper waters. But those miles and those times really stack up against this group. I did go to Uncle Shank underneath. I think that he's going to provide some good value. I really like those qualifiers. But a lot of horses, though, Randy, aside from No Control, I'm not really sure what to expect from them tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, it's just kind of a wide open thing. I mean, I even noticed with Ghislaine, he's got Jack Panic up on top. I think that that's actually a good play on Ghislaine's part, because Jack Panic can get himself into a good spot, and he's got that kind of speed that if Jonathan Drury can find a way through, he could beat a horse at like a horse that's above his his pay grade. Let's put it to you that way. To me, he's a giant killer, and I think that it's a good opportunity that Ghislaine is putting here, because the one that's going to take the most support, No Control, you know, hasn't won a race in 7 starts this year, you know, and also has missed a little bit of time. So if you're going to play against them, might be the time.
Yeah, again, we should get it done. But again, you know, those performances in the past, obviously some cause for concern, even if it is against tougher company. But I think tonight should be the one to get it done. Jack Panic, good pick by Ghislaine. But which version are we going to get?
That's the thing with Jack
right? Like
Panic. But that's why you can get him at a price.
Yes, absolutely. So I understand Ghislaine going price shopping here to kick off the opener. And right now you see him at 10-1. We're going to move on to race number 2 here, or race 3, I should say. Oh, race 2. We are going to go to race number 2. And we're scratched down now to a field of 4. And Better See the Show, who first and second over his last 2 tries. Randy, he's scratched out of this affair. But how about Aiago Solster? I mean, kind of caught our attention, his first career start. And, you know, a really good effort last time out, pacing a mile in 52-3 in a solid effort.
That first career start, that was an eye-opener, right? Because not only any of us expected that, especially the going out of there and the way that he did it, you know, at all points, you know, he always had, like, the way that Bob's sitting on him right now, shoulders back, you know, letting the horse do the racing. He's just a good horse right now, and he had every opportunity to get beat in this one. Dougie give this one a perfect race. Better See the Show, coming out of a hot stable, was a winner, 2 down, still come 26 flat, but could not get by this horse, Aiago Solster. I think this is his race to lose.
You could see how confident Bob was in handling Aiago, even though Dougie was right up alongside him. It just looked like Bobby knew he was a winner. And that horse really responded well. Some people say, yeah, he should have got the job done because he sprinted home. I know there were some people saying that. I disagree. I thought it was a really, really good effort. He had every chance to get beat, and this is a horse who's coming into this final super sharp.
I agree. I completely agree. I like the way Garnet, you know, he's going to try him with Mood Control. He's pretty well logical in there as well. And then Time Passer, you know, interesting one. Big last quarter for this one. And, you know, coming back to James McDonald, that's not a bad thing either.
Time Passer I'm kind of scared of, because this is a horse I think is going to benefit from racing off a helmet. I think he's going to get a helmet to chase with Aiago Solster. And how about Mood Control? Ever since they added Lasix, different animal.
Yeah, you know, the big thing with Lasix, John, I don't think it makes them any faster, but it certainly makes them consistent.
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
Now we know what we're getting.
And we've seen these some good efforts from this guy, too. He's taken a lot of air in some of those efforts, and he still responded, pacing hard throughout the wire. It doesn't really matter where he gets away, though, because it's a field of 4.
Right.
So he's still going to have, everybody's going to have a chance turning for home. It's a matter of who's going to have the most left to offer. So it likely will be a final quarter sprint, turning for home, given the circumstances. But
if they're all close, those 4 horses, any one of them can win a sprint.
I completely agree. We're going to move on to race number 3 here. So we've got another Ontario Sire Spring Series final, this time a full field of 10. And we spoke about one filly earlier, Randy, and Deborah. She's looking to a scratch to a field of 9, I should say, but looking for a sweep here is Deborah. She's looked good. She's been in good spots in both efforts. Wrapped up winner last time out. But there's some other fillies who I think are worth mentioning about, and there's maybe one that you want to talk about. But I think Deborah's going to be the focus here.
I'd say Deborah. I'm going to go up on top with her. I mean, she's looking to sweep it there. I liked her when she came out last year in the Harvest. You know, I think she's even gotten a little bit deeper in the time that she's missed from the Harvest into the Spring Series. Nightingale, I think, is going to be pretty tough in here. I'm not really sure, you know, at some point, is Jody going to try to get her a little bit closer because she's got big wheels on the end of it, and it just always seems like she's giving up a little bit too much ground. So I'm not really sure with her. I got Nightingale in for second. Roxy Hart, bad draw for her, unfortunately for the Bergerons. She does come out there, but it's only a starting spot. A lot can happen out there, so I haven't lost interest in her. Got her in for third, and then I go to the other end of the extreme, down to the rail. The Green Book for the Henrys, got that one in for fourth. But I think Deborah, with the good draw and the fact that we haven't really quite seen what Jody's going to do with Nightingale. See, to me, Roxy Hart is probably her biggest competition, but she's got the outside, so that's going to kind of nullify her a bit. It's the Jody one that's bothering me, you know what I mean? It looked like a couple of times people tried leaving with her and she made breaks coming out of there, and he's been racing her from off, and she's been racing great, but again, if you give McClure too much respect or too much distance, is it going to be enough to make up? What do you think?
Yeah, you could see that in this replay here as well. I know Roxy Hart, she's going gate to wire, but again, look who's airborne late in the mile. It's Nightingale. So she kind of gapped a little bit, turning for home in those couple of efforts, but in the straightaway, she's been airborne, like you can see here, finishing full of trot. I agree with you. I think this draw is going to benefit her if she can get in a good position. Honestly, Randy, I know Deborah's been great, but it's going to be awfully tough to fend off this filly of Susie Kerwitz.
It is. It's going to come down to that. I mean, I think we're looking at an exactor here, but then you bring in a horse like Roxy Hart that's been very, very good at too. So if these two happen to, make a mistake or get in a bad spot or maybe even, go at each other a little bit too hard, that could happen too. I see Roxy Hart. Now, I can also see, too, a guy like Tyler Borth, a half-mile track driver, does a lot of his driving on the half-mile tracks, you know what I mean? Easily adjusted to this circuit, but he still can make a horse go off the gate. Who's to say that he doesn't decide, hey, 10-hole, or it's going to be 9-hole now, I'm leaving. And if he shoots this thing off the gate, then it becomes a fly in the ointment, and then all of a sudden it's a completely different complexion.
I think you got no choice but to try and put this filly in play, right? I mean, there's some good ones in here, so I know you have a bad draw, but I think you got no choice. But she made a break in her first start, though, Randy. I know that they experimented with all the trotting hobbles. They've stuck through it, and they've been rewarded, and she, too, has been a wrapped-up winner. I mean, she's got things her own way, but she's been trotting straight and strong. So a nice homebred here for Ben Bergeron and Roxy Hart. But this is one that I'm excited to see because even Core Resolve, I thought sneaky good in the last couple of efforts too.
Yeah, I agree. There's a nice bunch in here, no doubt about that. Even Resolve Indeed, you could throw that one in there as part of it too. She's had a good fifth, a good third in her last one. Seems to be some improvement going on. And, how do you discount McDonald? Yeah,
that's race number 3. And we're going to fast forward here to race number 4 here. And we've got a field of 10. And this is a tricky race, though, Randy. Honestly, I think that Blue Hunt is a standout here on class alone. But his form hasn't really been, much lately. It is a softer group. But, again, you draw the far outside. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of these top contenders in some of these fields, they've drawn poorly. That's the thing. But there's one in here that you really like, and he's taken a bit of a step up in class here. But that effort was eye-catching last time out.
I thought so. We've talking the same one, the Dean Nixon trainee here. Yeah, the 5-horse Thunder Country is the way that I'm going to go with this bird. We're going to show you the replay of this guy, and I really was impressed with the way that he raced. So you look, March the 3rd was his last race at Miami Valley. Then he comes back here a month later and qualifies over our track. A very easy kind of qualifier. Nothing really, to speak home about. 57 for Dougie in the bike. Then he comes back 10 days later, so still not on a great rotation, but my goodness, what a good mile. So he's down on the, at this point, no place for J-Mac to go with him. Now you see him trying to idle him out and try to find this seam, and he just catches it. Now let's see if this guy's got any pony on the end of it, and yes, he does, in my opinion. And also, you got to remember, that was a huge leave out of the 8-hole to get himself into that situation. So now he's got middle of the gate, McClure, a horse that can leave hard and still come home good. I'm going to take a shot here with Thunder Country. It's going to be my top pick in here. But, we are losing James. He's going to go to Sergeant Slaughter. I got him in for second, but I think if there's a horse that can maybe take Sergeant Slaughter down, I think it's Thunder Country and Bobby McClure.
You're going to get a price on this guy. There might be some speed to chase with him as well. And that was his first pari-mutuel start in about over a month. So he's going to be tighter. Again, steps up in class here. But if he has some go on the end of it like he showed there, Randy, I think this is one that's worth, merits a lot of respect late in that mile. But again, I just don't know what we're going to see from some of these other rivals. So I think if you're going to go swinging for the fences, I do think this is a race to maybe try that with in Thunder Country. Really, really nice effort. But what do you make of Blue Hunt from outside? I mean, this is a horse that, like I said, from a class standpoint, he really stands up. But what do you make of him this evening?
You know, I'm going to do the wait and see on him, John. You know, he spent some time down in Yonkers. He's just recently come back up here. You know, sometimes when they're down in the States and then they come back up here, strange house again, you know, I mean, a little bit different kind of things going on. So I'm going to take a wait and see, especially with the 10 hole and especially with the fact, too, that let's be honest here, Travis had a choice and he goes with Respect Our Flag, whereas Phil is going to jump up on Blue Hunt, you know. So, and my own opinion, too, I love the Huntsvilles, but I really like them better when they're raced a certain way. And that's not too much early, lots late. And if you're going to try that with this guy from the 10 hole, you could be out of position.
Should say Travis had to go to the 6
he owns part of them.
ownership purposes
right,
there.
yeah.
So but a horse that's also racing pretty sharp and Respect Our Flag. But I tell you, if there's some early speed to chase, watch out for Thunder Country. That was some good go on the end of that mile. We're going to fast forward to race number 5 now, and this is closing out our early pick 5. Randy, I found this race to be extremely tough because, again, the far outside, we've got, Sabo Wilson starting from the 10 hole, and he's making his 3-year-old debut. What do you make of this field here tonight, Randy?
You know, I mean, I think it's a good deep field.
Yeah.
You know, there's just some little idiosyncrasies. You know, Wallace Hartley is going to take a lot of support, but I mean, you know, he's only had the one qualifier, missed a few months. It's a good qualifier, comes from a good barn, so he could be ready first time. You know, 6 hole to boot. Regal Bub been racing extremely well, and Sabo Wilson coming back, you know, off of some really good racing. 91,000 picked up last year in 10 starts, but draws the 10 hole. So, you know, you can go some different ways in here. Myself, I'm going to go the 5 horse in here, Honolulu Vacation. This horse raced so well last week. I didn't think there was a way in the world that Ben Lookin was going to get pulled down last week, and this guy come, and especially what really attracted me to him is that down the lane when Ben Lookin still had maybe about 2.5, 3 lengths on them, Bobby had 2 ways to go. He could have went up the inside. He could have gone to the outside. He goes to the inside, and the minute that he moved that horse to the inside, that horse caught and just took off chasing and raced an amazing race. Louis Waugh going to pick up the drive on him tonight. Sabo Wilson. You can see McClure kind of going that route. I mean, this is a 3-year-old, sire stake wise. You know, it's the way to go. Honolulu Vacation, a 4-year-old, so his sire stake, you know, pretty well done. But I think that Honolulu Vacation is a horse that is on deadly good form right now.
Wide open race to close out that early pick 5. I too have to shake off some rust though, because we should have gone to race number 6. So we are going to go to race number 6, which is the Ontario Sire Spring Series trot final here though, Randy. And we'll get to race 5 more a little bit later, but this is one that I'm looking forward to, and I believe you are as well. And we're really excited to see the 8-horse Fast Snap, because I really liked what I've seen in 2 starts so far, and it seems like you have as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's done nothing wrong. You know, and now Paul Davies is going to turn the driving over to James McDonald. You know, I mean, Paul's done an amazing job with him. Every move has been the right move for this horse. He's just done so well. So let's take a look at this last replay. Hopefully James is kind of taking a look at this as well, too. Yeah, that's you out in the middle of the track there, James. You're on the run. Let's look at the Paul Davies one. You're driving this one. You know, again, to me, a locked-in journey. You know, he didn't get out in just quite enough time, you know, to be able to make to get the job done. You know, he's not going to beat Phil at this point. Phil's flying with this guy. Now he's finally got the room, and he starts to get into him. He starts to chase him a little bit. This horse on the outside, you know, he had every top opportunity to go by a man force, but he didn't. And now he's closing back up on Phil again. James wins a lot of races. James puts horses in good spots. Not that Paul hasn't, but James, you know what I mean? He does it 10 times a night, 4 nights a week. I just think that this change is a real eye-opener. I'm going to go that route on him. I
went that route as well. I'm really excited to see what kind of effort he can put forth tonight in what I feel like is a wide-open race. And we're going to look at a replay of another one here, and you want to focus on Modelo Gold. Nice effort from him.
Unreal. And what a job Dagfin's done with this guy. You know, I mean, when he first come out there, like, I liked him, but I didn't go rah or anything. He's really turning this horse into a really nice horse. And not to matter the fact, too, look at the way he trots. Look at the body movement on him, everything. Like, this is an athlete, this horse, and I just think that Dagfin has done an amazing good job with him. I got him in for 3rd, Fast Snap in on top. I sandwiched in between Flanagan Sunshine. And the biggest reason why, I was really confident on going Fast Snap over Flanagan, I just a little bit scared with this rail.
That's my thing. I know I did put him up for second, but the more I started to think about it, though, I'm like you. Where's he going to get away from the rail? I think it's going to be a little bit tricky for this guy in this spot tonight. But one that I am excited to see, I have listed for third, is in that replay we saw Fleetwood Mac. He was behind Doug, whose rival started to tire. I'm really interested or curious to know if Doug gets the jump on Dagfin. Are the roles reversed? Is it Bob first and Dagfin second? I don't know. Both I thought raced really well last week.
I agree with you, and I'll throw one at you as well, with Fleetwood Mac. Would you be surprised if he got everything in this race? Just no. And not because the good ones made breaks or anything like that. Just straight out trotted them, because I wouldn't be.
No, I wouldn't be. I think he's sitting on a big effort. I think the qualifiers were an indication. I thought last week's effort was an indication, and and I think another one. I wouldn't be surprised if he put forth a good effort as Manforce, but we just haven't seen him with a desire to get the job done. Jody's put him in great spots every week. We saw it even as a 2-year-old. Just hasn't been able to cross that wire, first. And we saw it in the replay you showed, right? He had every opportunity to get to Fast Snap. He just couldn't go by, right? So, but he draws well tonight. He's got a post advantage over a lot of rivals. So I'm sure he's going to work out a pretty good trip. It's a matter of, is he going to get there tonight? Well,
that's the thing. But Susie's sending in a bridle change on him. She's going to go from open to blinkers with a middle of the gate draw. The fact that, he just has been missing on the end of it. Maybe they're saying, hey, listen, let's go out of there this time.
Good point. Something to monitor here as we kick off the middle pick 5, because we've got 3 this evening. We're going to go to race number 7 here, and we didn't get this class last time out, Randy. We do get leg 2 now of the Canadian Sired Graduate Series for 4-year-old Pacers. I know we have a group of 5 here, though, but this is a pretty good compact group, and there's a couple rivals that we're excited to watch, but we kind of touched on the pre-show. 8-5 morning line favorite, Fun Time Bayama, making his season debut, and we're going to take a look at his qualifiers, or the most recent one, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I showed, the second one down is a doozy. He goes to the front and he wins in 50, but I wanted to show you the one just before he comes back up here. I didn't think this was a bad one, John. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's done a lot of winning in his life from way off the pace if he hasn't seen the lead at some point. I can remember even when he first came here as a 2-year-old, Sylvan was driving, I think, Do Better for Bob McIntosh, and Eve was driving this guy himself, and he came first over on Sylvan, and he finished right with him. Never did get by him, you know what I mean? And then gradually Sylvan started to go to this guy. So I don't know if he really needs the front to be at his very, very best. Not really 100% sure if he's going to get the front in here tonight. But if he does put him in front, or whoever is going to be in front, they got one that they better be a little bit scared of, and that's this 4 horse.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is a horse that sooner or later is going to find his way out. And he's going to take, how many times since he's come up here have we seen this exact trip with him? All kinds of go, nowhere to apply it. Now, 2 starts ago, James did get him out, didn't do a whole lot, but maybe this is his style of racing. Maybe this is the way he likes to race, come down in through them. But I mean, look at James here at this point, nowhere to go. Louis Waugh going to be picking this guy up because James is going to go with Fun Time Bayama. But I mean, this is week after week that we see this, and sooner or later he's going to find a way through there, much like we've seen with Jack Panic, who's also able to get those kinds of trips.
Look at the hole James has got even after the wire. Just a tough spot because he had a choice to pull first over. Does he sit? But to your point, 2 starts back, he races against Brew Hanover, gets away probably towards a little bit behind Dougie's charge, Tarasi, and he pulls first over, and he's just got absolutely nothing. Yeah. So you're coming off a locked-in journey 3 starts ago where he looked like he was loaded with pace, was likely going to win if he found a seam, to going first over with being completely empty. But now you see that effort, he's loaded with pace again. So he's coming to this race really sharp. And I tell you what, I was really curious to see what kind of direction James was going to go to, because he must know that he's a sharp rival. But you get to sit behind a horse like Fun Time Bayama when he's at his best. You know that he's capable of a big effort. But I just don't know. We talked about wait and see approach. This is a wait and see approach for me with Fun Time Bayama. He's had to overcome quite a bit. I spoke to Andrew Harris as well before the card tonight, and they said that he missed some time because they had to put a screw in his ankle. They had to conduct a throat surgery as well. So this is a horse who's been sidelined for almost a year, and he's had to deal with some issues, right? So they're happy to see him back at the races. They're pleased with the qualifiers, but they want to see what kind of what kind of effort he can put forth tonight. So I'm curious to see. I just don't know if he's ready from a fitness standpoint as of right now.
That's what scares me, you know. And the other thing that we want to, you know, put back out there as well too is just make sure, remember, he is racing on Lasix tonight. Qualified on Lasix. There's no L beside his name, but he is racing on Lasix. And one other quickly thing we didn't even touch on. I don't know who you went, but I went Century Komodo up on top.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, you too? It's just, that's the problem with when you're coming back with a horse like Funtime Bayama. He's missed all that time. He likes the front end, whether they race him that way or not. But his best racing seems to be when at some point, you know, he's raced hard on the front end. He likes that. So now you got the Century Komodo, who's on a good rotation that is absolutely flying on the end of it in a short field like this. I think that Century Komodo, he might not be able to get the best of Funtime Bayama next week, depending on how Funtime Bayama races, but I do think that he can get the best of him this week.
He's got one wicked move on the end of his mile, and he showed that when he was an upset winner in his first start for for Dave Maneri, and I think in a short field, that's really going to bode well to his liking here, and he's got a good shot to double up. We're going to go to race number 8, but before we touch on this race, I do want to say there is a claim entered on Nazaire, so Nazaire will get claimed out of this contest, so whoever's getting him is going to get a pretty sharp racehorse, Randy. So keep that in mind. One claim entered on Nazaire in the opener, and we're going to go to race number 8 here, and it's our final Ontario Sire Spring Series final, this time for the 3-year-old pacing fillies. Whiskey Blue Chip, she's looking for a series sweep, but she's going to have to do it from the 9-hole, and I just see a lot of levers to her inside, and I think things might be a little bit more difficult for her, I should say, tonight.
I agree. You know, I agree there. I mean, and the worst thing is he's going to have to come out of there. There's no way he's going to be able to take her to the back, you know what I mean? And he can't even really give up a lot of ground because there's so many in here that can get up close and they're racing good. Look at a horse like Candy Kiss. I got her in for 4th, but she's always been able to get out of there, get herself into a good spot, so she's going to be coming out of there. What about a horse like Dear Abby that's also got a lot of good gate speed, and she's the stable entry of Candy Kiss. Then you bring in Cour Tout du Lac, right? Okay, so this one, you know, she didn't really show a whole lot of gate speed until she needed it last week. So we got a lot of gate speeds in here. I got faith in the Mouse. I think that he's going to be able to work a trip out with Whiskey Blue Chip and keep Uncle Bill in the winner's circle with this girl. So here we go. And one of the biggest reasons, too, is like I've said before, sometimes when they stay in this series and they're not beating up, but, you know, racing against the same kind of horses week in and week out with good success, they get confident. And I think that that's what we're seeing with her. Yeah, Mario has to get into it with a little bit, but to the same effect, she is getting very, very confident. Every week, you know, it's not a hold your breath till we get to the wire. She moves away from them, and he's got her shut down. That's the only reason they're getting close to her is she's shut down. So I'm going to stick with the Mouse. Mouse needs the cheese. Randy needs the cheese. I'm sticking with the Mouse on this one. Going to throw Louis in for second. But a couple of horses that made my watch list, John. We can talk about this race later. Sadie's Delight, Funny Business, also racing quite well. But let's take a look at the Louis Wa filly in here. What was your thoughts with her?
Yeah, she tripped out. She was sprinting home well. And I think what you got to like coming into tonight, though, is that Louis and, Eric Nadeau, they're teaming up. They're having a pretty good week as well, right? Or the last, 7 to 10 days. So this is a filly who showed something 2 starts back with J.R. Plan. I believe you might have highlighted that effort as well when she showed some go on the inside. Things didn't really work out 2 starts back, but as you see, Louis puts her in play, and you mentioned it a couple moments ago. He showed her gate speed. He showed a different dimension in her. So this is a filly we know that can leave and can respond well to being used a couple of times in the mile. And I'm hoping that she can work out a trip behind Whiskey Blue Chip and maybe out-sprint her late. So this is a filly coming into really good form. And I think I put her on top. I'm hoping for a good effort here. But I do know that Whiskey Blue Chip's going to be tough, Randy.
You know, it's funny because that horse that was flying on the outside, a horse that I really like, Funny Business, you know, we both like her. The only one using her in on the bottom, Garnet.
Yeah.
You know, that's how deep this field is. This is a good field. And I mean, you've seen her last race after that last replay. She was the one that was really scooting on the end of it for McClure.
I know that Cour Tout du Lac and Whiskey Blue Chip have been the standouts in this in the first 2 legs, but I really do think there's a chance we do see an upset if those 2 don't get the trips that they want to get tonight. So that's a look at race number 8, and we're going to go over to race number 9, and we've got a preferred 2 this time out, Randy, and We saw Write Me a Rose race in the preferred last time out, and he showed some wicked wheels on the end of his miles in a narrow loss to Brew Hanover. Middle of the gate draw, you have to figure it's going to be down the road approach for this guy, don't you think?
Yeah, completely. I think that the race is going to go through Write Me a Rose. Let's take a quick look at this replay on him. Now, I mean, he's got Fortify, who's, at different times has won the preferred, our top class, I mean, he's kind of making his way back up there, but he's a dangerous horse. Got him in for second. I do. Which Way to the Beach? Racing fantastic, but wow, this guy's got some big, go on the end of it. And in my opinion, anyway, and I don't know if it's just because of the horses that he's been bringing out recently or whatever, but I think that Kyle Fellows' barn is really starting to, heat up. And here you can see Tyler and Write Me a Rose coming hard on the end of it. Going to pick up McNair tonight. Dougie was a winner with him 2 starts ago, and he elected to race him in front. So we see 2 different styles with him, short field to go. I'm going to go Write Me a Rose.
I'll tell you, it's really nice to see him racing really well as Write Me a Rose. I know that they were, the connections, Kyle and Rob had high hopes for him as a 3-year-old. Things didn't really work out as a 3-year-old, and I think they had so much confidence in in a time where we see a lot of 3-year-olds being sold, unfortunately, after their provincial careers are done. These guys had all the belief in the world in this guy, and he's really started to show it over the last couple of seasons. I think sometimes things can change when you start driving horses confidently. And certain drivers picked up Write Me a Rose, handled him with confidence, and we started seeing him respond really well, right? We saw Dougie go down the road with him a couple starts ago. And he was in a tough spot against Brew Hanover. I thought that was a really nice mile to get him, acclimated to that kind of class again. And now coming into tonight, she should be razor sharp. So, Write Me a Rose racing really sharp, and we saw a really strong campaign from him last year, bankrolling over 180,000. But one I'm excited to see, though, I don't think he can get the job done. Arbitrage Hanover, really nice 3-year-old campaign, was kind of under the radar because he never took on the cream of the crop of the Glamour Boys division, wasn't staked up to any of those marquee events. But this is one I'm really excited to see, and also racing for the Kyle Fellows barn. Not ready, likely to take on this group right away, but one that I'm excited about.
I agree. Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about him because he's been doing so much racing down there. And that race on the bottom there, would that be the final of the New Jersey Classic?
Yes.
I guess, going for 200,000. Well, it's usually a pretty tough race to win, and he was a winner there, and he didn't go off as favorite. No. So I say he overachieved a little bit. Definitely going to be an interesting horse in here. Nice to see him come in and join our circuit. We love seeing horses like this come up here.
I know the qualifier really wasn't too appealing, but he bounced back with the second one was much better, and one that I'm excited to see how he progresses here on Canadian soil. And we're going to go to race number 10, if we're going to go to race number 12, I should say. We're going to close things out. We're running out of time already, Rain. It's just flying by. Biggest thing is Windblown going to bounce back here in this spot? Is Post Relief going to help this guy get back to his winning ways?
I think so. I think that's the only thing that got him beat last week was that 10-hole. It was just a little bit too tough on Windblown. So, he's going to be my top pick in here. I thought he raced real good, but, one of his biggest dangers is going to be the horse from the outside batter up Hanover. He's just racing fantastic, along with everything in Benny, Blue Eyes, Hollingsworth's barn. They are a powerful bunch right now. But the one that, to me, John, I go up and down here. The one I keep going back to him, and he doesn't win that often, but I really, really like this horse as a 6 horse. All bets on Tex. Got him in for 4th, in this jackpot high five. But got him in for 4th, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him come up with a big effort for Brett McDonald.
I think he's going to likely sit behind Windblown.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's a trip that he typically likes to sit and stalk and see that maybe see if he can pull off an upset. But again, I think Post Relief is going to help Windblown. I see all of us going in that direction, except for Garnet Barnsdale. Great effort from batter up Hanover, and Ben Hollingsworth is having a great couple of weeks, but I just don't see how this guy is going to be able to kind of get involved from out there. I think it's going to be even tougher for him, I should say.
I agree with you there. I think things are going to have to go his way. And one other quick thing I'd like to say, and you can back me up on this. Did we not have a pop-up not that long ago? I think it was a pop-up where Control the Power recently went into Jody Collins' barn, drew the outside, and Travis just blasted him, and he win for fun. I swear that this was the horse. He had come up with a big effort last season. It was here. I'm sure he had the outside, and Travis just blasted him, and they couldn't catch him. And it was a huge mile, too. So I'm pretty sure this is the guy. You might want to take a look and see how Travis is going to race Control the Power tonight.
Oh, don't remember if that was the case. I don't really remember if that was the case, but there was a call noise. I just don't remember which one it was.
I think it was the David Snowden one, and he just recently turned him over to Collins.
I think you're right.
And he went a big effort, and he was not the favorite that night either. There was a horse that he wasn't supposed to be able to beat, drew the outside. Travis just rode at him, and they could never get close to him.
He's going to have to do that again tonight to get the best of Windblown, who's been super since adding Lasix. Well, that's the way we see this 12-pack here. We're going to be with you throughout the night. But before that, let's get some Randy plays of the night here. What do you got, Hall of Famer?
What are you thinking of that pink tie there, John?
Looks pretty sharp.
Okay, so we're going to start it out in race 1. My all-in's going to be No Control tonight. Second start, Lasix. Worth a look is going to be Thunder Country. In the middle, I got a couple of those ones, 4th and 5th race. Worth a look for Thunder Country in the 4th. Beat the Fave. Honolulu Vacation in the 5th, and Waples Watch is going to be Fast Snap for Paul Davies and James McDonald.
All right, a couple of prices sandwiched in the middle, and here I'm going to go with a Blue Hunt as a spot play, hoping that he can get the job done on Class from post number 10. Value player, I'm with you on Fast Snap. I think that he's one that I'm really intrigued with. Best bet, Century Komodo. I'm going to give him the nod as a single
back
there.
On track.
Back on track. Pacino Hanover, another Cullen starter from post number 10. Sneaky good effort last time out. I think that he could get the job done from the outside. And we've got some other plays of the night to pass forward. Gislan Piquet going with Time Passer, hoping he can get the job done here in this final. Garnet Barnesdale spot play Wallace Hartley in a wide open race. Good pick and good draw to work with. And Mike Proposi, multi-leg single, Write Me a Rose. Completely agree. All right, they're going to get set to get on the track soon, and we are ready to talk through this 12-pack. Looking forward to it, buddy.
I am too. Let's get at it, man. We got 2 fast talkers, and we want to see some fast racing.
Tell me about it.
John Rallis.